Good afternoon, Bermuda, and welcome back for another Bermuda Youth Connect interview with your constituency candidates running in the general election of 2025. My name is Ajay Peets, and Haley TR joins me as we will be conducting the candidate interview for those running in C16. We have the pleasure of speaking to One Bermuda Alliance candidate for Constituency 16, John Seymour, and Progressive Labor Party candidate for Constituency 16, Minister Michael Weeks.
So throughout this election season, we've hosted a number of candidate interviews so far, and you can rewatch them on our YouTube channel at Bermuda Youth Connect. But throughout this conversation, we'll be diving into some issues affecting our community with a special focus on Constituency 16. Our goal today is to really provide voters with insight into your perspectives, priorities, and plans for the future. With that, we're going to go ahead and turn to the One Bermuda Alliance candidate, Mr. John Seymour, to introduce himself.
Good afternoon, Bermuda, and I want to thank Bermuda Youth Connect for allowing me to come on and express myself to be the next elected candidate for Pembroke East Central Constituency 16. I'd like to give a little bit of background about myself. I love Constituency 16. I worship in Constituency 16. As a minister of music of First Church of God. Also, I'm proactive in the community. I'm very concerned about Constituency 16 on a number of reasons. But as you'll see in this interview and this discussion, I will address a lot of those matters that I'll be bringing to the forefront of my campaign. And a lot of the concerns that have been brought to me by the constituents that I have initiatives to address in this next election and moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Minister Weeks, you can introduce yourself.
Yes, ladies, good afternoon, RJ, and good afternoon, Hattie. Thank you for having me here today. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's my sincere gratitude to accept this invitation. So, like you said, RJ, it was a little short notice, but I was excited about the opportunity. I know this is a platform for young people's voices to be heard, so I'm looking forward to this discussion. As a member of Parliament representing C16, Pembroke East Central, I definitely recognize the concerns of the constituency. I've been there for quite some time now and addressing the concerns. Concerns are always ongoing, so you try to address them as they come. I am from the constituency. Don't live there now, but I'm definitely born and raised within the borders of Pembroke East Central, so I do know what the issues are just from being there growing up. I went to school at Victor Scott, which was called Century at the time. I went from there to the Barclay Institute. My playground was everything in and around St. Monica's, Frisco, CEO, Parsons Road, and even what we call the dump. So I too am passionate about addressing the issues that arise in C16 locally and our country as a whole. So with that said, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Minister Weeks.
And Minister Weeks, while we have you on the floor, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. Given the cultural review's findings of low morale, racism, and toxic environment within the Bermuda Police Service, how will the ministry ensure that the action plans lead to lasting and meaningful cultural change within the BPS?
Great question, RJ. What I've undertaken to have done is a full cultural review of the fire service so that we could take a look at the existing issues, what has been happening, what we can change in the short term, and what we need to change in the long term. Because over the years, there have been various views of how our relationships are with the police. So to fix some of the outstanding issues, I think the cultural and peer review will go a long way in first identify the issues and let us know what it is that we need to fix. Because ultimately, the police are there to serve the public.
Thank you, Minister Weeks. I actually want to pose a question to both of you to talk about your experience in Constituency 16 so far. And what has your experience been like on the doorsteps? What are the concerns of your constituents? And I will ask this question first to Mr. Seymour.
Thank you for that question. Many of the concerns on the doorstep vary depending on which street you go down. St. Monica's Road would be different than Crossland Lane. Crossland Lane's concerns are different than, say, next to Balvin's, where we go Cherry Hill. So I'll say that each street is very much different. The concerns I've heard on Cherry Hill is regards to trash. Now, that might not seem like a big issue to a lot of people from surrounding areas or neighborhoods, but it's a big issue to the seniors on that hill when they have to smell the trash on a weekend after trash day, and people are bringing out their trash, and rats and rodents and birds picking at the trash all week long. The concerns on Crossland Lane is the active crime that's going on in multiple homes where people have moved into the area and have caused residents that have been there for 20, 30 years to feel unsafe. And those are some serious issues that many residents are facing on Crossland Lane. We go to St. Monica's Road, and St. Monica's Road, their concerns would be the fact that many seniors live on St. Monica's Road, and the access for fire service trucks, ambulances, they're not able to get back there and have that access that they really need. I believe that I have many initiatives that will solve a lot of these issues that many of the constituents are facing. But many of the surrounding neighborhoods, trash is a major issue. And that has been the forefront of my campaign to deal with the trash issue, because it's we have many residents that are very close
I'm
together.
so sorry to interrupt, but we have to move on. I want to give Mr. Weeks an opportunity to answer that question as well.
Okay.
So what are some of the top concerns that you've heard from your constituents?
There are so many concerns. Some of the concerns that our constituents are faced with. There are things like the trash, lights, proper lighting, and the like. When it comes to trash, there's an understanding that we have 1 day trash pickup. We have had that for the last, 4 or 5 years, and the government is always looking to improve. What we are faced with are these issues, not only trash, not only in Cherry Hill, but throughout our community and throughout the country. The issue of Crossland Lane, that's a topical issue that has been going on for about a year. We've had two problem houses that have been having parties and the like all hours of the night. It has been a long time in addressing. It took us almost a year to address it because we had to go through it systemically and systematically in order to get to the root of the problem. And we have pretty well gotten that issue sorted out. So that's a localized issue, but the constituency itself, lights, safety, speed bumps a lot of times, it's those kind of things that are common in our constituency and perhaps island-wide.
Thank you, Minister Weeks. Want to turn over to Mr. Seymour because in a now deleted tweet, you were quite critical of Minister Weeks' record in Pembroke East Central. And Minister Weeks responded at the PLP family reunion, and so we wanted to share a quick clip of part of his response.
So you all know me, and this is not about posturing or electioneering. This is about our future, our families, and our island home. So when you cast your vote, please ask yourself, do you want someone who just showed up? Someone who is videoing about there being trash outside of a grocery store? But listen to me, family. But they didn't realize that it was actually trash day.
So I want to give you an opportunity to kind of respond to this and directly ask you, how exactly do you plan to address the ongoing issues in the constituency, such as crime, poor infrastructure, and the lack of community development?
Is this question posed to me?
Yes, Mr. Seymour.
Okay, thank you. Since 2000, let's talk about trash first. Since 2018, which was under the Progressive Labor Party administration, the trash had been moved from 2 days to 1 day, which I quite frankly think is unacceptable for our island, especially when we have many seniors that live far, far away from Times Bay Dump. I believe that's highly unacceptable for a first world country, that we only have 1 day trash. We need to get back to that. It can be done. The resources can be allocated. I believe it should be done. With regards to crime, Minister Weeks has stated that he's been there for quite some time now, close to 15 years. And these issues are still prevalent. They have not been addressed. They have not been handled. I have, even since 2017, which Leroy Bean was head of gang reduction, where are the tangible results? Where are the effective policies that have been put in place, even from the raise of $92,000 to $125,000 in 1 year, dating to now close to $1 million for what work that has been done for gang reduction. We need things that are in place, proactive policies, not reactive. And I believe that's what's been happening. We have been waiting until a problem occurs, and we are more reactive than proactive in a lot of the things that have been happening around our island, and specifically in Constituency 16. I can speak to the concerns of those members of Crossan Lane. They're quite fed up. They're quite fed up with what's been going on in their area. I don't want to take too much time to speak on it, but yes, I heard the concerns of the residents. Yes.
No, I wanted to ask you a follow-up question,
Yes.
just to understand exactly what specific proactive policies you would recommend or try to pose in Parliament if you are elected. But I also want to give an opportunity for Minister Weeks to respond after. But first, what proactive policies?
There has to be tangible results. We have to have the numbers. How many, specifically, young Black men have ended their gang activity? Where are the numbers? We need the results when we are putting these proactive policies. One of my proactive policies that I will be looking forward to put in place is to get those that are either at the farm or those that are at the prison to be rehabilitated back into our society. They need to be put back to work while they are being rehabilitated. I know now National Security Minister does not have that portfolio. It has been given over to the Attorney General. But I believe since the time he's been there, I believe that he should have put it in place all this time. Those young men need to come out. They need to pick up the slack of, I believe, works in engineering and parks. They've been doing a marvelous job, but still work has to be done around our island. They can gain these they can gain these skills, landscaping skills, mason skills, so they can look forward to coming home and being a productive member of the society. That's how we are proactive. We reach these young Black men by going into the schools, getting them and educating them about the activity before they get to that stage where we are reactive to a lot of the things that they're facing in their personal lives. I believe that is where we need to start with our young men.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Minister Weeks, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to Mr. Seymour's comments.
Most definitely, ladies and Mr. Seymour. If I may, let me give you some facts. As far as being reactive rather than proactive. I take issue with that because we are very proactive in the Ministry of National Security, not only with me now being the Minister of National Security, but before I was Minister of Community and Culture. So what we have done over the years has been very much proactive. We, under my guidance, reached out to 130 different people throughout the island. That was sporting clubs, community clubs, churches, family center, mirrors, the individuals that had interest in helping our young people, the rehabilitation services. And we had a 2-day workshop. And out of that 2-day workshop came the anti-violence strategy to address not only gang violence, but all forms of violence in our communities. So we are very much down the road in addressing the root causes of what causes violence. And this anti-violence strategy starts in the cradle almost. From the time a child is born, you identify certain things and certain behaviors. So we are in the primary schools, Mr. Seymour. We are in the middle schools. We are in the high schools. We are engaging in programs that help young men and women who are on the fringes, who academia, who is not for them. We are teaching them. We have made it clear with scholarships. We work closely with workforce development and the like. So we have various programs as we speak. We have helped young men relocate, young women relocate to learn different trades. As it pertains to the corrections, the work release program is vibrant. It's always been there. So the opportunity for young men once they reach certain stages, because obviously when you first go into to the corrections environment, you're not allowed to come out on work programs. So after you reach a certain stage, the work release program is vibrant.
Minister Weeks, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have to move on to our next question. Go ahead.
And this is actually a perfect segue, so you have the opportunity to elaborate further on that, because my next question touches on some of the aspects of what you had just spoke to. Mm-hmm. So my question for you, Minister Weeks, with the new National Violence Reduction Strategy focusing on redemption and reintegration, how do you plan to measure the success of this approach in reducing crime? And what specific steps will be taken to ensure that support systems for offenders and at-risk youth are effective and accessible?
Okay, well, the National Violence Reduction Strategy has in place ways to measure our success. We have a database that we have developed, and that database takes into effect age demographic, racial demographic, gender, type of crime, and the like. So in having this wide database, it's going to be easier for us to measure the effectiveness of what we are doing. And in the joined up approach, you have education, you have the health ministry, you have the national security ministry, because not everybody, if we start off heavy-handed, nothing gets done. So we are partnering with education, health, community and culture, workforce development, family services, mirror. So we are pulling on all that expertise and being focused more on prevention before we get to redemption and rehabilitation.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Minister Weeks. Mr. Seymour, this next question is for you. Following your social media comments regarding the LGBTQ plus community and your apology afterwards for any offense caused, how do you plan to ensure that your views on inclusivity align with the diverse values and needs of all constituents in Pembroke East Central, particularly those from marginalized groups?
If I may, I will address that. First, I'd like to address Mr. Weeks' comment. Actually, I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question. I won't be moved from my faith. My faith is the basis of who I am as a person, as an individual, my morality. Majority of the doorsteps that I have been on, they have many concerns, and I will continue to address those concerns. When I apologized if I had offended anyone by my comments. As a man of faith and a man of the church, I won't be moved from my faith or my convictions. So when it comes to a person's lifestyle, whatever that may be, I don't judge anyone based upon what they may do in their private life. But with regards to my faith, I act out of that. And I do it unreservedly and unapologetically. And to the public, they can do as they will with that information as a God-fearing man.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
But I'd like to address Mr. Weeks' last comment, if I may.
You may.
Mr. Weeks, just a couple seconds. Where are the tangible results from the work of Leroy Bean? He has been the first gang reduction of the task force. I want to know that, and the people of Bermuda want to know the actual tangible results. Where are the statistics? Where are the numbers for the $92,000 now moved to $125,000 a year? Where are the results?
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
And it's not just a community issue. We have to take responsibility as leaders. We cannot put it all to the community.
Thank you for your...
Yes.
Minister Weeks, I want to give you an opportunity to respond. We also have another question for you as well, but briefly, 30 seconds to respond.
Yes, quickly. Gang violence has decreased. Community violence has decreased. So when you ask for tangible results, the proof is in the pudding. The gang violence reduction team has been doing human work since 2017, and a lot of the work that they do, unfortunately, are not for public consumption because they have to get into the belly of the beast. They have to go and meet those gang members because they have to be out there where it's happening, and some of that is trust. Some of that is trust. So in order for them to be able to become effective or be effective, they have to build up trust. So the tangible results that we're looking for is the decrease in what we know as gang violence.
Thank you so much for answering that, Minister Weeks. So on to my next question for you. Given your commitment to balancing safety with privacy concerns regarding CCTV cameras, how will you ensure that community input is meaningfully incorporated into the decision-making process, And what steps will be taken to maintain transparency as the review of existing and future cameras progress?
Okay, actually, I welcome that question. The CCTV project has been a major project for me because we have to put together the safety of the country and the privacy of the individual. So what we have been doing is working closely with the privacy commissioner in every step of the way. We listen to community concerns individually, neighborhood concerns as to the impact of where certain cameras are. And so what we continue to do is to listen to and engage the community. But we also have to keep in mind that we have to marry the individual perception of the CCTV as opposed to keeping our country safe and doing what is right for us as a collective. So as I finish, I must stress that we work closely with the privacy commissioner and we listen to any concerns of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Weeks. We're going to turn back over to Mr. Seymour because in your last or a recent campaign video that went quite viral, you highlighted concerns over the insufficient one-a-day-week trash collection. I know you mentioned previously that this is unacceptable, but wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about any specific solutions that you propose to improve waste management in Pembroke East Central and across Bermuda to ensure more efficient and sustainable trash collection services for residents.
My question is, why did we change in the first place? I believe 2 days was sufficient enough. I mean, I understand that we even had 3 days at one point, but 2 days was quite enough for people to be able to schedule when they can put their trash out, especially seniors, especially our seniors. I believe that 2-day trash needs to be implemented again. It should have never been changed in the first place. That's my major concern, especially when I have residents that don't have transportation to get to Tynes Bay Dump. I know there was a viral video that was made out of it and a song that was made out of it, but the seriousness of it is it's not a joke. It's not a joke when you have seniors that are smelling rancid trash after 3 days of the trash has already been collected. That's the 3 days that the next trash cycle should have been done. I truly believe that's unacceptable.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Are there any other solutions that you have?
Yes, I have many solutions. I have many solutions surrounding Constituency 16. There are specific areas in Constituency 16 where people have been used to dumping their trash around greenery areas, around trees areas, right in front of other people's houses. I went to planning a couple weeks ago to see how I can structure concrete structures for specific areas around C16, and that has to go through a planning process where I might have to get rebar, have to get a concrete block, and I believe that these at least the trash can be contained in a concrete area or we have the big metal dumpsters where we can place those in specific areas of the community where people will be able to release their trash and it can be picked up in a timely manner. And that would keep Bermuda beautiful. I mean, quite frankly, we all have to hold ourselves accountable as well. We have to be our brother's keeper and our neighbor's keeper. No one wants trash outside of the front window. And when they open the window, smelling someone else's garbage, that's not nice. That's not nice. And I believe we all have to play our individual part as we, as leaders, come to a solution to get back to a 2-day trash week by minimum 2 days.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Want to give Minister Weeks an opportunity to respond. Looks like he had something to say quickly, though, because we do have another question for you.
Okay, quickly. When we when we had 2-day trash, what those that the Department of Works were finding that they didn't have enough time to maintain the trucks. So the trucks are breaking down, and they had to look at a way to serve the public and be able to maintain the trucks in order to address trash pickup day. One thing I do agree with Mr. Seymour is that we do have to deal with personal responsibility. And if trash pickup is on a Thursday, we have to put trash out either the Wednesday night or Thursday morning so the trash can be picked up. If you put the trash out any time of the week, I think that lacks community pride. When it comes to dumpsters, where dumpster can fit, we have put a dumpster. So a dumpster cannot go up Cherry Hill because we have tried that. And there are some other places that we have looked at having dumpsters and enclosed areas. So this is not a new thing. This has been an ongoing issue, and many of our neighborhoods and communities have worked very well together to ensure that trash is only put out at the appropriate time.
If I may, just a slight comment on that. I believe it's unacceptable that our cabinet and our MPs can get brand new cars, but we can't put that money towards upkeeping our trash trucks. That's highly unacceptable to me, even as a member of the community. We have the resources to upkeep and maintain our trucks. I know we do, especially if we can buy a whole fleet of brand new cars.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ajay for our next question.
Yes, thank you for your thoughts. So we have an audience question that is posed to Minister Weeks. It's from Rakai Bascom Emery. Question for Michael Weeks. Can you estimate the economic impact of your THCA bans on Bermuda? Multiple businesses have closed, with Uplift being one of the most high-profile closures.
To estimate the economic impact of the THCA bans, I cannot give you a definitive amount. But I also want to say that it's the health impact that we also have to consider when we are addressing these new substances. So when we put a ban on THCA, it was less on the economic impact and more on the health impact of our community. So what Captain has to do and the Ministry of Health has to do in particular is to look at these new CBD items and see what impact that they would have on the health of Bermuda. And in saying that, as the Minister of National Security responsible for the National Drug Control, we've had a team put together regulations that are currently now being looked at by the Department of Health and the Attorney General's chambers. And once those regulations are done, businesses like Impact and others would have a clearer picture of what is allowed and what is acceptable and not acceptable in Bermuda.
If I may add, how is it that Pitt and Company can bring in and shelf their products to Belvin's, which I see when I go to get a bottle of water, and I see these leaf products in there, but not that I consume Uplift or I support it, but I believe it's a great business for people with anxiety and those that are dealing with those type of effects. How is it that a certain monopoly business is allowed to carry their products through, but a small family-owned, small-time business entrepreneurs are not able to continue with the success of their business? I believe that's out of order. Do you have an answer for that? I'm just curious.
It's important that when we speak of these businesses, we have to be factual.
Okay.
You know, and what Uplift is going to is the type of product, is the percentage of the THC that's in the product. When we talk about larger businesses that may have other CBD products, they're not the same CBD product. So what we are trying to ascertain with the regulations is it's going to be blanket regulations for the country. So once we get the regulations in place, the economic impact is secondary to making sure that we get it right when it comes to the health impact and the safety of everyday Bermudians.
Thank you,
Thank you
Minister.
so much. And we're just going to shift gears and plow through to our next question. Thank you so much for addressing the audience question. So this question will be for both candidates as we close. As candidates vying for the role of representing Pembroke East Central, what kind of leadership can your constituents expect from you, and how will you ensure that their needs and concerns are addressed with transparency and dedication throughout your term in office? And I would like to start with John Seymour first, and then I'll hand it over to Minister Michael Weeks.
Thank you, Ms. Peets. That's a very great question. I believe accountability, transparency, and integrity is the first and foremost of my campaign, and how I will be running and how I will run my tenure as the representative of Constituency 16. I believe monthly accountability meetings need to be held, not just with myself, but all MPs. Moving forward, if I am elected, I will be having monthly meetings and take these concerns of my constituency, and I will address them within 30 days. And whatever result I have within that 30 days, those constituents will be able to come back. I'll be able to give them the tangible results of what I have done within 1 month. And if I am not able to address it or not able to fix that concern, I will at least make the transparency and give them the communication that they need to at least let them know where I am with regards to the personal situation. I believe accountability is very serious, especially when you are voted in, you are being paid by those who have voted you in. There needs to be more accountability, transparency, and integrity with regards to how we act for our residents and our constituents. That's one of the initiatives that I have in place for my tenure.
Thank you so much for expanding on that. And now I'd like to pass on the same question to you, Minister Michael Weeks. And just as a refresher, what kind of leadership can your constituents expect from you? And how will you ensure that their needs and concerns are addressed with transparency and dedication?
Thank you for that, RJ. I must say that a lot of what Mr. Seymour said is actually in plain all. Leadership transcends trash pickup. I have been on the doorstep. I sit on couches. When, just as an example, what has been done over these last few years, when COVID hit, I went on to Supermart and I sat with the owner of Supermart and said, how can I help my constituents? Because COVID stopped people from working. Supermart allowed me to have 300 meals every weekend for almost 2 years. And in that in those 2 years, every weekend, we went around the constituency and give out dinners to those that were unable to work full-time or just working part-time. Transparency, I meet with my executive once a month. We have a monthly clinic that's open to all of Constituency 16, and everyone knows for the last 10 plus years, the third Saturday of every month, I'm available for anyone in the constituency or outside the constituency to come sit and talk. Those that have issues, I address, and I address in a timely manner. At least once a quarter, we try to have a constituency meeting. We have seniors teas to give our seniors the respect that they deserve. We have back to school functions to give to our children. We give out free school supplies and fun days. We donate books to our Victor Scott Primary School once a year. I mean, we go on and staying engaged with our seniors and our children and the wider constituency as a whole.
Thank you, Minister Weeks,
Okay.
for your response. just want to give Mr. Seymour 30 seconds to briefly respond, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to your closing statements.
Yes. Quite frankly, the people have already seen what Minister Weeks has can and has done. That's it in a nutshell. Crime is still prevalent. Trash is still prevalent. As small of a topic that Mr. Weeks may, think it is, but it's a serious topic. There's still a lot of issues that are still outstanding. The economic development, even at the playground there. There's a gentleman there that put in a proposal. I don't know, we're in Bermuda, all right? You can't do it over South Shore where people can dump their cars, dump their bikes in the trees. It's all over Constituency 16 where there's just a dumping of cars, dumping of trash. The infrastructure hasn't been improved. There's have been no sidewalk improvements. There have been no road improvements. But if you find it on South Shore, it's up there. All around the island, you see improvements, but C16 has been left in the dark for many years.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. We're going to go ahead and begin to close out. I want to thank you both, Minister Weeks and Mr. Seymour, for taking the time to talk to us and participate in this interview. But I'd like to give you both an opportunity to provide 1-minute closing remarks to Constituency 16 in Bermuda. And Minister Weeks, we'll start with you.
Thank you again for having me, ladies. And Mr. Seymour, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about the concerns of the community I take that we both love and respect. I'm looking forward to continuing to address the needs of Constituency 16 in particular and our country as a whole. There are issues that are always ongoing, but we must be factual in our deliberations and our discussions. Like to say that nothing's happened in C16 is a far reach, because the needs of C16 are met not only on a monthly basis but on a daily basis. And I look forward to addressing the needs and sitting in the dining rooms and helping all my constituencies where I can. Thank you. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Minister Weeks. Mr. John Seymour, you can close out.
I want to thank Bermuda Youth Connect for the continued work that they do in the community to bring a level of transparency to not only the candidates, but the MPs and the ministers. I want to thank you and encourage you to do the work. Continue to do the work that you're doing now. It's very, very much appreciated, not just from myself, but from Bermuda. I also want to thank Mr. Weeks for coming on. But I want to close with this. I bring in a fresh approach. And that's what I bring to the constituency, a fresh approach. And I want to give the opportunity for the constituents to put their faith in John Seymour. Give me an opportunity to show you what I can do, not just in 4 years, but in the tenure that I will be here. I'll continue to do the work, whether win or lose. I'm not here for one election. I'll be here for the long haul, to do the work of the people, not politics. It is people over politics. That is my mantra. And I will continue to work with Mr. Weeks. I will continue to help him in any way that he needs to continue to do this work. I'm not against Mr. Weeks, but I believe we can both be more accountable. And we can definitely do the work that is desperately needed in Constituency 16, Pembroke East Central.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seymour, for expanding on that. To the general elected, we encourage you to make your voice heard by participating in the election on February 18th. A quick reminder that advanced polling is currently open, and today is the last day to vote early, so don't miss out on your chance to cast your vote. Be sure to follow Bermuda Youth Connect on all platforms for more updates, and stay tuned to this space for continued election content. Your engagement matters. Let's all work together to shape the future of our community. Thank you so much for watching.